Hi, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a great holiday season for us here at Maple Ranch. I know it's been a long Christmas and New Year's for sure. We finally got a few inches of snow here in Pennsylvania, which is a surprise compared to the last few years. And well, it's good to be back, and we're going to be starting to do some maple syrup preparation. So this will actually be my second year doing maple syrup. So the first year I was only able to tap a few maple trees just to see how the process would go. But this year I went ahead and I got this older bourbon barrel from some of the storage on the farm. Also got a little kit to make it into more of a wood burning stove, and we're going to try to do more of a wood burning burn barrel setup this year, because last year I just used the propane and the turkey fryer method and it just took way too long for how much maple syrup we had. So I was able to pick up some of these stainless steel serving pans from an auction, and along with some of the preparations we're going to make to this barrel, we're going to try to do some wood burning this year. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to put this barrel together and we'll get ready for the season. Should be coming up in a few weeks. Okay, so this is the kit that I was able to get, and I'm not affiliated with this in any way, but it's basically just from Amazon. It was like $100. It comes with the vent at the top for the barrel, a little door for the front, a few legs. Of course, they have stickers all over this, so you can't really see what comes with it. I guess this side shows a little better. So we have a nice cast iron door, two legs, a flue collar, and then a damper. So for $100, and then of course the barrel I just had lying around as an extra one. It's a little rusty, but hopefully we'll burn all that out of there once we get some fires going. A lid, and then the locking ring. So first thing I want to do is just get this kit out of here. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so the kit's not too bad. Got a nice heavy duty cast iron door and all the other parts here. So it does come with the hardware too, which is pretty nice. So let's see what we need to do to get this thing ready to go. It does come with the directions here, but it's pretty straightforward. So I think we're just gonna dive into this. We're gonna get the door on the solid side of the base here. I think it would be better than the lid. That way we don't have to worry about it coming apart. I'm not gonna weld the lid on or anything. And then we can always open that back up if we ever wanted to expand or something to another one. So, all right, well, let's see about getting some holes cut here. We'll get this traced out and we'll start grinding. Well, of course, after looking at this for 2 seconds, I think we do have to make the front door on the lid, because this is way flatter with how the lid is designed. Even though it's a little bit thinner metal, the bottom has a lot of dents, or not dents, but folds basically designed into it for strength. So I don't think we'd ever be able to get that door to seal very well. So I think we're going to stick to cutting it out on the lid here, and we'll be able to get a much better seal. So we're going to get this traced out. We'll cut out that and we'll get our hardware in. Some creepy spiders here. Maybe someone can help me figure out what kind of spider this is, because he is thick. He's a weird looking one. perfect, but like I said, this is going to be on gravel, so a little bit of wobble. Not the worst thing in the world, so we'll make it work. But it's looking pretty good. So we have our legs on. They're all, you know, a little bit beat up, so it might even be a little bit that. Our damper on. We have our front door on lid. So I'm just going to stand this thing up on end for now. And basically now all we have to do is cut a few slots on the top here for our trays to warm up, and we should be good to go. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. So we'll probably have to work on this another night, but we'll get this built, and of course we'll start a couple fires and get some wood chopped so we can get this thing tested out. All right, I'll catch up with you whenever we get back to this project. Well, good morning. It's February 3rd here in Pennsylvania, and we've had some pretty good weather for syrup tapping. So it's been about 25 at night. It's about 35 to 40 degrees now during the day. So I'm here with my wife Marissa and my son Walker, who's about to turn 2, and we're gonna tap some maple trees this year. So last year I think I did 3 maple trees and got about 24 ounces of syrup out of that. So this year we're upping our production to 7 taps instead of 3. And of course, earlier in the video, you saw me upgrade our boiler system from the old turkey fryer pot, which was giving me about 1 gallon an hour, to the new evaporator with the wood burner. So hopefully that'll get me up to about 8 to 10 gallons an hour. And we're gonna also try to tap a few walnut trees up here going up the driveway this year. So we'll see if that tastes any different. But for now, we have this beautiful grove of sugar maples that we tapped last year that gave us some really good sap. So we're gonna try to get these taps in. We have our little syrup taps from Amazon, pretty standard. It's a 5/16 drill bit, and we'll just drill into the tree and see how our production is. So let's get to it. All right, here we go. First tap of 2024 here. We found a nice sugar maple here. Walker's gonna help out.
And we're just seeing about how high I can go.
Shooting for about 1.5 feet up off the ground, and you want to have a slight angle like that, but not too far. But yeah, 1.5 inches in should be good to go. Probably a little bit more. Just a hair. Nice. Looking good, Walker. And then we'll just drop it right down into this food grade 5-gallon bucket, and it should fill this bucket up every day, maybe 2 days, depending on how good the sap's flowing. So and then a nice 5/16 hole in the bucket. And do we have any flow?
Nothing.
Nothing right now. Maybe we'll come back and check this one in a minute.
Now.
Nothing now. That's right, buddy. Well, we'll come back and check this one when we get to the other taps. But 1 down and 6 to go. All right, tree number 2 here. You can see we actually tapped this tree last year, so we're going to try to avoid this hole, maybe go a little bit lower and off to the side. Also, this is our southern side here, so we're trying to keep our holes on the southern facing side, so maybe they'll get a little bit warmer in the winter here since we don't get much sun. You tapping that tree, Walker?
Knock.
Knocking the tree. Let's see how the flow is on this one.
No. None.
Nothing yet, huh, Walker?
No. We'll go check that one.
All right, we're on to tree number 4 here, and we found a little deadhead over here. So always fun little surprises. Looks like just a doe though, so not as exciting, but we get this last 2 trees tapped here, and then we could be on to some walnuts.
Ready? Oh yeah, there's that coming on this one.
Nice. First good flow here so far. Walker, you gonna put this one in?
You want to put the tap in there?
Yeah.
Good job.
Uh-oh. Can you try
one more
again?
Time. Here, put it in there.
Well, look at all that flow already, Walker.
This is the best one yet. Good. Push it in.
Push it.
Push it with your hand.
Nice push.
Good job.
Hammer.
You want a little tap, huh? Oh, yeah. Look, already.
I like it. Oh, it's dripping. All right, Walker, there's your maple syrup for this year.
Yeah, wow, you did a great job.
All right, so we just had this last one. This will be 5 maple trees for us. And then we'll go check those other ones to see if we have any flow. All right, we're already getting some good flow from this one too. Nice. It's gonna be a good year. Okay, and that makes number 5. So getting some good flow from this one too. It's hard to tell. Maybe a drop, 2 to 3 drops per minute or so. But we have our one here. We have our little row of 5 sugar maples. So we knew that one was flowing pretty good. Let's come back and check a couple of these. So it looks like I do see a little drop there coming down. See how this one's doing. It's got a little bit of condensation in there. I can't see any big drops, but maybe we have a few. But our last one here, and then we'll walk up the hill to the walnut. So I'm excited about trying this year. So this one looks pretty dry, but here's a little bit of sap on the tap there. So we'll give it a shot, and if it's not producing anything this week, then maybe we'll move to a different tree. But all right, we're gonna walk up the hill and we're gonna do some walnut trees up there. We'll see how the taste changes. Okay, so the sun is really coming out now, so hopefully the flow really starts. But we have this walnut tree right behind me, and then we have one more slightly up the driveway here. Of course, you know, just a short walk from this tree line where all our other sugar maples are. So pretty close by for this year. Of course, I have to harvest these every 3 or 4 days, and it's kind of a tough walk to bring 40 gallons of maple syrup up the hill in the snow or the mud. So try to keep it somewhat tame. But we're gonna do this walnut tree, that walnut tree, and I'm just curious to see how the flavor changes. So if you've ever tapped a walnut tree, you know, feel free to leave the experience down in the comments, or what the flavors were like, and hopefully we get enough out of these 2 trees to actually try some. All right, so this is actually really exciting because from everything I read online, the walnuts don't produce nearly as much as these sugar maples. But for us today, I mean, this thing's been a lot more productive than those sugar maples down over the hill. So as soon as I drilled into this thing, I got maybe 4 or 5 quick drops out of the tap here. So hopefully we'll get a nice harvest from this this walnut tree this year. I mean, this thing is pretty big for our property, which was timbered a couple years ago. So before we bought it, of course, unfortunately. But between this walnut tree and that walnut tree, which is probably about a 18-inch diameter, should get something decent. Okay, last walnut here, and about the same thing. We were a few quick drops there as soon as I hammered the tap in. Got a decent flow going, so I will call this good for now, and we'll check back in a couple days, maybe 2 days or so, and see how we're doing. But until then, we just definitely have to get some firewood ready for the wood burner this year. So I'm not exactly sure how much wood it's going to take because I haven't done this method yet, but it doesn't hurt to have more than what we think. So I'm gonna go get that ready. Maybe we'll chop some wood, and we'll just be ready for the first boil probably later this week or maybe next weekend, depending on how much syrup we get. Okay, well, it's definitely warming up now. It's probably about 40 degrees out here, so the jacket had to come off. I was starting to get pretty too hot for this time of the year. So just got a load of wood. So we got probably a small truckload of logs here, and this was just stuff I had up on the hill from the first time I cleared. It's a little bit of a mix of Osage orange, some cherry, and maybe a couple other things mixed in there, but mostly cherry and Osage. So we're gonna get this split, hopefully small enough to fit in the oven over here. And of course,
don't know if I showed this already, but I did cut the top, kind of bent the sides over so it can hold my stainless steel trays. With this barrel, it was actually just wide enough that I could cut out the whole top here. So I think next year, if I ever did this again, I would try to use this diesel fuel tank from a home heating system. It's about a 100-gallon tank. So I saw a lot of people online using those, and I wish I would have seen that before I made this one, because it would have been nice to have a little bit bigger oven. But we'll get the stack on and we'll get some wood cut for this, and hopefully be ready to boil whenever we get as much sap as we need by the end of the week. So let's get some of this wood split and catch up with you after that. Just need to find a decent sized piece to use as a chopping block. Now, most of these are only about 16 inches maybe, kind of smaller stuff. But we'll make it. All right. That's a good start. Okay, well, just got called into lunch, so I'm gonna go do that. Got through most of this pile in probably about half an hour, so only a few logs left. Might end up having to resplit a few of these just because they're a little bit bigger than what I think will fit. Just here's an example of that Osage too, so really easily identifiable with that super yellowish orange bark in there, and or the heartwood and sapwood in there, versus like your standard cherry or something like this. So big difference in color. Hopefully that Osage burns pretty good. I've heard it does pretty well, so it should be a nice hot burning wood. I know there's not much of it around this area, but this property we bought up on the hill has some of the biggest Osage orange groves I've ever seen in this area. So we have no shortage of Osage. So just gonna get a couple more of these big pieces cut, and then we're gonna take a little break for lunch and hopefully be ready to have some wood drying for this week whenever we start the boil. All right, so it's about a week later, and we just harvested maple syrup for the first couple days here. So in the first 3 days, we ended up with 3 gallons of the sugar maple and about 2 gallons, maybe 3 gallons or so of the walnut. So the walnut's actually flowing pretty good compared to our 5 sugar maples. But just to kind of prep our syrup evaporation here, I just got a small fire going in here without any syrup on it, just to kind of burn off the junk inside this barrel. And then Walker and I have been here splitting a couple pieces of wood just to kind of get that going, because of course this is still just a hair wet, and we're gonna get started on some of this maple syrup. It's just a kind of an overcast Saturday here, so it was supposed to rain all day, so hopefully we can get a little bit of evaporated before it rains. So let's start getting this boiled, and we'll see how much we can get done. I misremembered, and it's probably closer to about 6 gallons. So I have 2 of these 5-gallon buckets, a little bit over half full of the sugar maple. So we'll see how this one boils down today. and then we'll switch to the walnut maple syrup. Yeah, you can help. Can you hand those to Dad? Thank you. Let's get it nice and hot. So last year with the turkey fryer method, I was getting about a gallon an hour. So it is about noon right now. So we'll see how fast it'll take to boil down this 6 gallons or so. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job. Okay, last one. Don't touch the barrel, please. Nope, don't touch. Just hand them to Dad. I'll throw them in, okay? Good job. You're doing so good. I saw a lot of guys putting a hairdryer or blower into the vent here just to get this thing really fired up, so that would be a pretty good idea, but didn't have one out here, so I'm just going to leave this door cracked a little bit. Try and get some better air circulation through here. Hey, where are you going? Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes now, and I ended up having to open the door just to really get this fire going. So it made a big difference having that open. So I was trying to play with the vent on the bottom. It wasn't quite letting enough heat in there, or oxygen in there, to keep the fire going. So it was still going, but it just was. Yeah, ice. It looks like ice, doesn't it? Wasn't quite enough oxygen to let the fire keep going. So after 40 minutes, this back one, some of those bubbles on the bottom are finally starting to break the surface tension and coming up into a boil. So we'll see how much longer it takes for us to get down to hopefully a gallon or so before we start temping it and trying to take it in, maybe after it gets down to a few ounces. But yeah, so for now it's going pretty well. It's almost nap time for this guy, so we're gonna throw a couple logs in here and we're just gonna let it go for maybe another hour or so, 2 hours, and see what it looks like when we come back. You want me to split one? Yeah. Okay.
Big one, Dad.
Oh, well, we can't split the big one just yet. We need that. Okay, you ready to watch Dad split that one? Can you stand over here, please? And Walker can do the next one. Okay, stand over here. You ready? Yeah. Wow.
Daddy.
You want to try one?
Yeah.
Ready? More. Nice one. You did it. Okay, well, it's 2:30, so it's been about 2 hours here, so let's see how we're doing. We have probably about a quarter left of this, 3 gallons here maybe, so maybe a gallon left of that, a little bit less. The front one, which hasn't been getting nearly as hot as the back, still probably about 2 gallons in there, so it is boiling, but definitely a lot faster in the back than the front. Fire still looking nice and toasty in there. Probably throw a couple more logs in there just to keep that thing going. So far, out of all the wood I've chopped, which was about 1 truckload that was not heaped up, I probably used maybe a few logs out of it. So definitely getting some good efficient boiling here. So if I had to take a quick guess, probably originally had about 4 gallons in here, and we are down to maybe about 2. So we're still at about a gallon an hour, which is pretty slow. So I'll try to throw a couple more big logs in here. Hopefully we can get this thing hot and speed up this process a little bit, but definitely making some good progress. Should be able to add some more syrup or sap to this back pot here in a little bit. Okay, so rather than adding new syrup that's cold to both of these, I'm just going to take this front one that's already nice and warm and just add it to this back pot here. Just like that. reloaded now. And you see we have our original non-boiled sap here and our boiled and combined sap from our first batch. So definitely starting to see some progress. We'll let this get down to about a ½ inch from the bottom or so, and then probably combine these, see if we can get these to boil down a little faster towards the back. But we'll give this about another hour or so and check it again. Okay, so it's just hitting about 7 o'clock here, so it's going a lot slower than I thought. So definitely need to improve our stove here somehow, because we're not getting much boiling in the front. And we're going on roughly 7 hours now. So we started around 12:30, I think. The fire's been going pretty good all day. So I don't know if that's necessarily our issue here. And we're almost boiled down in the back pot here, but this front one is just so slow. And this front one gets almost no heat, and the back one gets probably 75% of it. So definitely gonna reevaluate this a little bit. I know people have done the fire brick and stuff, but I don't necessarily think I want to invest too much in this barrel, because I think next year we might end up doing a bigger stove and more of a commercial evaporator instead of these little pans. So let's see how this goes. We'll keep monitoring it. I think we have a couple more hours on these 2 pans here, and then we'll finish it off in the house tonight. Probably another 2 hours maybe if we're lucky. We've been trying to get this thing hot, but without having a fan or anything out here, it's difficult to get the heat to really build. So we'll leave this door open. Maybe we'll get some more airflow in here and come back, check it in an hour or so after dinner. Okay, so a little bit disappointing, but I think we can still manage. But we're about 45 minutes later, and I actually came out here to check on this after dinner, and I had actually burnt a little bit. So this back pan, leaving that door open, made a significant difference on the temperature. So I actually burned the back pan here a little bit. You can see how dark it actually is compared to the front one here, which is still less concentrated because I keep dumping into this back one as it boils down. But I do have a good bit of burnt syrup here along the edge. So I'm gonna try to filter that out with the cheesecloth whenever this gets finished boiling up. So it actually burnt down almost every log I put in there in the last 45 minutes. So threw another decent sized stack on there. I'm gonna kind of baby it here for the last ½ an hour or so, because I probably have maybe a little bit less than ½ a gallon left between these two. And this is pretty much ready to go in and get on the stove, but I keep adding this front one to it as it goes down. So we'll give it about another ½ an hour, 15 minutes maybe, and then we'll try to cheesecloth filter it out. Hopefully I can get rid of all that garbage, and we didn't overcook this syrup too much. So we'll catch you guys back up when we get to that part. Okay, so another 15 minutes has gone by. We're at 8 p.m. right now, and this front pan wasn't doing much anymore. You kind of see as you go back there, most of that flame is being pushed towards the back. So that's definitely why we're getting so much more heat towards the back pan. So I just emptied the last maybe pint or so out of the front pan. So we have roughly maybe three quarts left in the back pan here. And the only thing I'm worried about, so this is my first, this is the first harvest of the year. And I thought I was about a week or two behind in the season, but judging by how dark this sap is and the syrup, I mean, I'm hoping that I didn't burn it that badly. I'm hoping that I'm just a little bit later in the season and it's getting darker, because normally, like last year when I harvested, the first boil was pretty light colored, and then it got darker as the season got more into the season, I guess. So every time I had a boil, the syrup was just getting darker and darker each week. So this is pretty dark. This was kind of like mid to end of the season, that really dark, robust syrup taste. So hopefully I didn't miss it by that much, because I mean, I got 4 or 5 weeks out of the season last year, and this is only week 1 of harvest. So we'll have to see, I guess. I did check the barrels today, and we probably have another 2 or 3 gallons, so it is slowing down. But yeah, we'll have to see. We might not end up getting as much maple syrup as we thought this year, but you know, it is just for me and the family. So not the end of the world, but we'll watch this boil down for maybe another 10-15 minutes, and then we'll transfer it into the cheesecloth and finish it off in the house. Okay, so we're now at 8:20, and I'm just about to pull this last bit off, and we'll filter it through our cheesecloth here. So it's just cheesecloth over double pasta pot here. Shove the cheesecloth down, that way it doesn't want to move whenever I pour the sap in, and we'll try to do this without getting burned. Okay, and here we are, 9:15, smoking up the house, finishing off this syrup. We got 8 ounces here, and probably another 6 on the stove, getting ready to boil over actually. So probably only another 2 or 3 minutes on that one. Just pulled this one off at 218 degrees Fahrenheit. So that one's about 212, so we'll give it another 5 minutes or so. Here we go. 8 ounces out of roughly 6.5 to 7 gallons. Will get me about 12, 13 fluid ounces. That's it. The fruits of our labor. All right, and here's number 2. So got about 5 ounces out of this one maybe. So roughly 12 to 13 ounces out of that, probably 6.5, 7 gallon boil, and we are at almost 9.5 hours. So didn't really make much of an improvement. I think I started getting some better tips there at the end for speeding up the boil, but we'll try that with the walnut syrup and week 2's harvest. So we'll see how much we end up with at the end of the year, but for that, it's for this video at least, that's the new boiling, a new evaporating system, and basically getting all the wood and setting it up and getting to our maple syrup. So I will try to update the video description with how many gallons or probably fluid ounces for me of the season I get, but I don't imagine it's going to be much more, maybe another 12 to 16 if I'm lucky. So look for that in the description. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.